The AIDS quilt over the ground shakes bodies, with quilts on floors with blood ingredients, on the cancerous threads of the disease, hanging from safeguarded ceilings to treat all the infected people as human. Some victims feel best by criticism, forced to live schizophrenic lives in time, inferior by cultural therapy, where some stand indifferent to its disease, with grief flowing down the pathways of its hate. I see the quilt of hate speech slogans reek, pieced from those bodied of intolerance, who walk among the names of prejudice, through ones who say it is deserved by choice, protesting pride events for sanctity. I see the quilt sorrow of no science, opened up to be shut by attitude, of these remembrances for the dead, while parents teach their kids the word faggot when referring to religious doctrine. The quilts force me to seek something behind, past those who place hate and symbols on earth, as the grief travels through cities and states, extending borders of no quilt boundaries, inviting hearts to reflect expressions. Some are chained completely to the old past, forgetting prospects on what is coming, where tissue boxes crawl over the dead. At ends of the aisles of bigotry, with a disturbed sense of time spilled on grounds. I take off my shoes over quilt patches more carefully than I walked through my time, in static graveyards painstakingly built, with the past and future not existing. For the melancholic has no future. My friend sews vivid flashes of color, where sorrow joins the ribbon on the ground, stretching hard and motionless like a stone, seen as trees growing tears sown like badges, rooted in quilt ground immovable. Most show outward emotion in fragments, remembering these grieving people now, as spaced time becomes disturbed by disease. And protesters with paintings and drawings forever frozen on signs parents made. I close my eyes to spatial fields of hate, from the dead stones all around motionless, to hide from the pain of loss by warmed quilts on the face of the barren living, stepping with embraced words of perversion. Many pale faces are murky colors, while groomed lovers juxtapose color planes, dressed in bright colors for their perception, hiding emptiness by dead, left behind by psychosis in its laughter and tears. I lose all control in death conclusions of those bodies of schizophrenia, until all becomes a two-way window of auditory hallucinations or falsification of memory. Some quilts have decorative messages, reproducing human figures by love, first stylized, then naturalistic, painting various elements of fear, rigid like mass, sometimes stereotypes. Some speak in rhythm by introspection, in full view of those mass-threaded faces, stitching itself into my own narrow eyes by the clusters of corpses of humans, echoing out body after body. Some create incoherent expressions, knowing excessive disintegration in renewed occurrence of repressions, menacing breakthroughs of aggressiveness, with thoughts of being immortal by threads. Some cry the names by sensitivity, where AIDS strangles their nicknames like coffins, then becomes a part of their daily lives, weaving itself into every contact that does not signify anything good. I reflect the starving of connections, for each other balancing on a quilt, until all see ourselves in all these dead, suffering from their schizophrenia, between the subjective and objective. Let the quilt of the living have vision, spreading its expressed, outraged perceptions across the country without illusion, facing tombstones without mocking laughter, bearing sadness in primary colors. We let many die without a cure, as doctors speak intoxicated states, then politicians claim monetary. Both do nothing but falsifications, then continue to do nothing by fear. Most bring their striking hallucinations, as the disease is in our broken souls. After the dying skeletal bodies are the horizontal streaking mirrors of our deadened schizophrenic spirits.